Hey, welcome to the Really Charlie podcast. Tonight, we got a great guest coming on, momentarily. Just waiting for him to sign on, and then we'll start our podcast, man. Walter James Sylvia, local author, songwriter, singer. Can't wait to talk to this man. He has definitely been inspiring me from afar, and I finally got him to come on the podcast. So can't wait to talk with him, talk shop, and go from there. So, but just bear with us momentarily while he signs on, and then we'll start the podcast as soon as he gets on. All right, man. What a tiring day, man. Yeah, a little under the weather. Not feeling well, but the show must go on, man. Um, I hate missing work, but I almost missed the whole day. But, you know, gotta keep on plugging away. Take a deep breath, inhale, and get the job done for the boss, right? Because if you're not around, that means someone else got to do your job. And to me, I don't. I try not to do that. Um, I'd rather I'd rather bear my responsibilities and the day goes by quick. It's only a couple of hours for me. So all right. So Walter is here from he's born and raised in New Bedford, Massachusetts. So um in fact, I'm gonna try to text him right now, see what's going on. So uh great guy, great character. Everyone that I know that knows him and seen the flyer that he was coming on the podcast, they said, "Wow, good dude, man, good dude." So we are in for a treat. Uh, let's see, let's see what Walter's up to here. All right. So, but one way or another, we'll do something. We'll talk about many things. What about President Obama, man? Great what a great honor. And I didn't watch the whole thing, but I really appreciate it. Mr. Dude. All right, here's Walter right now. Hold on one second. What's going on, stranger? Just try your mic, Walter, when you have a chance. Um, your microphone. Yeah, there you go.
How
What's
about
going
now?
on, man?
Not
Yeah,
too much. How you doing, Charlie?
I'm doing well, man. Um, First and foremost, man, it's great to have you on here. And in fact, with that being said, I'm gonna give you a proper intro, man. Hold on one second. Yeah, let's do this right, man, because you have been inspiring me from afar. So I'm so happy to have you on here. Ladies and
I'm
gentlemen, welcome
happy.
to the Really Charlie podcast. Tonight, we welcome a man whose journey has taken him through music, recovery, self discovery, and the written word. Born and raised here in New Bedford, Massachusetts, our guest has spent decades exploring life's deepest questions and transforming those experiences into a powerful message or messages of hope, healing, and personal growth. Before becoming an author, he was a singer songwriter whose creativity helped him navigate life's challenges. Today, he is the author of two provoking books, Necessary Surrender, and a collection of poetry inspired by the recovery and reflection of No Mina. I hope I pronounced that right. Emotions of the senseless and disillusioned. Um, is going to explore is an exploitation of identity, emotion, spiritually, addiction, and the search for truth. So I hope I did you some justice, man.
Oh, that was absolutely fine. Thanks for having me on the
Yeah.
show.
Everybody that seen the flyer, they said that you were a good dude. Bunch of my old friends, and so I'm glad to have you on here. Plus, I work with your sister. Have so much, admiration for her. She's a good person. Anyone that says hello to me, that goes a long way. You don't have to say hello. You don't have to say goodbye to people, but those people that give you meet and greetings, I think they're special to me. So, and she's always done that.
Yeah, I just found out that you guys work together. I was like, get out of here.
Yeah,
That was
it's
cool.
she and the thing was, I didn't know you guys were related until I forget what conversation we had, and she told me. Um, and I had already seen your book on social media, so I said, "Wow." Um, but I was um, I was disappointed that I didn't go see you at the main library. I wanted to attend. Conflict in schedule. So, but
Don't feel bad. A lot of people couldn't make it. A
yeah,
lot
well,
of life happens.
yeah, that's true, and that's why I'm here to highlight you as much as I can, and also feel free, and you can come on anytime. I don't care what it is. If you see the podcast is on, just go in the comment section and say invite me, and I'll send you a link just like I did, and you can come on. It doesn't matter who the guest is, if you want to give some input, I'll add you to the audio, to the panel. So
Appreciate that. And I follow your show a lot. You have a lot of great guests and personalities, and it's real. And I enjoy watching your podcasts.
thank you. I think that think the city, the city just needs something like this. The everything that they put on, whether it's radio or newspaper, it's quick and done. They take no time to kind of, speak about whoever the subject matter is. That everything's quick. And I don't like that. I like to get deep down in the conversation, and which we're going to do right now. What inspired you to write your first book?
Oh wow! When I was a singer-songwriter in bands, we wrote all our own music, and I was the main lyricist, and that was the extent of my writing. I even tried to write a book once, and never got past the first chapter, But about 4 years ago, 5 years ago, when I was in treatment for addiction, my clinician suggested writing, keeping a journal, that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I just, for the life of me, could not sit down and write straight, what I was feeling, what my story was. It all just came out poetry. And that's how I wrote the first book. And I, was at a crossroads in my life where my creative outlet was turned off, because I was no longer singing in bands. I had retired from that in the 90s. And so I started to explore that, and come to find out it was exactly what I needed, just to balance everything else out. And I put the book together. I dared myself, and I started shopping around with the self-publishing companies. And I found one who's, because I'm kind of a techno caveman. I
Uh-huh.
type with two fingers like this.
I did that for 30 years, man.
I got to take a class or something.
You
And
know what? Even the class, it's really, you're gonna kind of revert back to your old habits.
yeah. So I found a site that was easy to navigate, and so I hooked up with them and got that book published. Um, it was very costly. Like I
Yeah,
said, this was about 4 years ago, so the industry standard was kind of high. There's still some companies out there that are kind of high, but a lot of them have come down in price. Um, $300-400. And I was paying like that first book cost me around 1,500.
yeah, yeah,
And it was only 30 pages.
yeah,
Uh, Small book of poetry, and now there's all these different little companies online that they have AI do all the work for them so they could lower their prices.
yeah,
And I'm like, oh my God, and I just went with that, and
yeah,
it worked out fine, and it was really nice. Um, like I said, it filled in that gap in my recovery where I felt more fuller. I had some
mm,
purpose, and
absolutely.
I was, oh man, able to express some um, things I was feeling, and it was just wonderful. Um,
Yeah,
do you
once you get
mind if
comfortable.
I
Yep.
share that quick
No, go
first
ahead.
poem that I wrote in the?
Sure, go ahead.
It's real short. It kind of summed up, what it kind of summed up where I was at that time. And excuse me a second, I'm having my own technical difficulties here. Boy,
Yeah,
I'm
I
telling you.
enjoy writing. I have a few books on the shelf. Like to get started back on them, and but it's definitely once you start going, and it becomes an addiction. Especially when I leave a story incomplete or a poem incomplete, and I want to get right
Oh, I
back
know
to
that.
it. Yep, yep,
The feeling. Yeah. I'm hooked now. I'm just really slow at it. So
yeah,
this poem is called "Not My Own," and it starts. I cannot afford the luxury of hatred. I cannot allow myself to overcome myself. The cloak of arrogance weighing me down, as the water of life so high will engulf me. Vain attempts to hold time in my hands, but it only slips through my fingers like water. Absorbed by my skin, a million thirsty mouths guzzle each moment. I cannot bear the insanity of perception, its constant promise of eternity. The song that's sung along the road of the immortal. In a place once thought real, where every breath tried to defend me. I
mm,
cannot control the life that bore me. I cannot call this place my own. And that
I
was the
love
little
that.
poem that's.
I I love that, and I'm always inspired by authors, and the it always leads. When I listen to anyone, um, I always grab a poem out of whatever their poem is, something, whether it's a verse, a line, anything that captures my attention, and So I like to always purchase books, and I totally, blew my mind that I had forgot to purchase both your books. So um, but there was enough information that was able to research, but I'm definitely getting your books. Behind the screen behind me, there's tons of books, and 80% of them are the guests that have been on my show. So I definitely want to add your. I actually want to add your books there. Quick question: is your books in the main library?
Yeah, both books are available to take out at the library. I donated both of them each time.
Okay, good, good. Because if I find out a local artist or author didn't submit one, I always try to purchase another book for the library.
I
I think,
believe they're right behind the reference desk on second floor on the local authors shelf. Yep.
yes, yeah, that's it's interesting, and I I try to encourage everyone to write a book. If you have a story, write a book. Leave your legacy behind, um, and inspire someone else. It's because my books are written, it inspires, believe it or not, the youngest people in my family. And one is my granddaughter. She has an amazing little story, children's book. And so I actually want to get that published for her. And I said, wow, I like this, and so I would like to do that for her by the end of the year. So um, let's see. Necessary Surrender. Um, it's a collection of poetry. And when you chose to put the first poem in there, why did you chose that specific poem?
It's my process always starts off slow, very
Yeah.
slow. And at that moment in my life, for the umpteenth time, I had surrendered everything.
Hmm.
I had surrendered my ego. I had surrendered the idea that I control the universe. Um, my hands were up in the air and I was asking whatever power was out there or in there inside of me that was in charge to take the reins
Hmm.
because I wasn't doing too great of a job at it.
Hmm.
Uh, you know, being under the throes of addiction is similar to being possessed, and
Hmm.
you lose the choice,
Yeah.
to
Yes.
to make decisions. And so I threw my hands up in the air again, and I said, "All right, you take care of things. I'll just follow,
Yeah.
and I'll stay the course this time." And it's something I wrestled with all my life, and it was necessary that I did so or die.
Hmm.
So that just the title to the book fell into place. Necessary surrender. You know.
I feel that. That's deep. It it's my other podcast is sometimes you have to lose yourself, and what we mean by that is that you have to just stop your routine thinking and go in another direction. Um, so it will put you in that like necessary surrender. And I like when
Yeah.
we're on there because we don't exclude anything. We talk about all different things. We had a great conversation yesterday about man to woman and conversations. And why a man and a woman need to be compatible and understand each other, and it's not a dominant role, because you're masculine, and so I truly I'm glad that you had lost yourself and put yourself on that path to to just write the book, which led to a second book, you know. Let's see. Can poetry become a form of therapy?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I
Absolutely.
agree.
I mean, probably more so than so many other mediums because um, just the expression, that expression can be shared with almost anyone, you know. A painting or a sculpture is just as equally expressive,
I
and
agree.
you don't need to have a command of words. You can just look at it and see it and feel it, you know. That's kind of the way I feel about my writing, is that
Mhm.
like this new book, Nomina,
Yeah,
is more, it's more like a painting or a sculpture that I'm not trying to prove anything. I'm not trying to teach anything. This was all for me. I was just
yeah,
expressing myself, you know, my inner journey, my spiritual journey, you know.
yeah. I can't wait to get them. You know, I'll order them this weekend and definitely get them to my hands very soon. The
I I actually have a copy for you. I was going to bring it to you, but you know, um, we weren't doing this down at the station, so.
oh,
Um,
okay.
but
I could, yeah, we can meet up in
maybe
but
I'll stop. How do you do on Route 18 there?
yeah, because that's another venue that feel free. You know, you want to talk about your books, just come on in. You know, the past few times, um, the owner Walter hasn't been on the podcast, and I try to tell him that you're essential to this podcast because he's an owner, you know, and people like meet and greet him, you know, and talk to him. Plus, you know, he has a lot of life skills and experience, so I like to have him on
Mhm.
the show and every chance I get. So, but yeah, feel free to come on down. Whether it's
Well,
you and a
thank you.
friend, it's open to you every single week, man. Um,
Appreciate
so let me see.
that.
Got my questions on my phone, and I have these old man eyes that I can barely see. You know. Um,
I feel you.
yeah. Um, let's see. How much of your books is an autobiography?
Um, it's funny. It's listed as literary fiction,
Yeah.
but in the beginning description, it says it blends memoir, fiction, and philosophical discourse, self-destruction, and spiritual rebirth. Um, the whole thing is really a memoir, but it's a subjective, spiritual memoir rather
Yeah.
than a true life story. A lot of the things in the book did happen. I
Yeah.
just embellished ever so
Yeah.
slightly with a paintbrush, and
Mm,
connected things. You know, like when I first started writing Nomina, I was a complete blank.
yep.
Didn't have a title, nothing. And I write with the pen and paper, and I'm sitting there, and this childhood memory comes to me.
Mm,
And so I'm like, wow, I haven't thought about that in years. So I'm kind of watching it with my mind's eye.
yeah.
And along comes this more present day memory of when I was homeless and stretched out in an alleyway, in the
Mm,
freezing cold. Both
yeah.
memories in my mind were side by side. And
Mm.
my conscious mind just said, "Oh my God, this is beautiful. I'm going to open the book this way." So I did.
I like that. I truly like that. Um, it's very elusive to me that that picture, and especially my experiences on the police department. I've seen a lot of situations, and I'll never forget the situation that older woman. Uh, I actually knew her from the past, but we found her in sort of like a cellarway, leading down to a basement of a house, and she was naked from the waist down. And then when she finally came into light, I seen who she was, and I said, "Oh my God," and it was actually a friend of mine's mom. And till this day, till the woman had passed, that visual stuck with me so much because I didn't expect it, and I truly paid some dear concern and empathy for her. I was trying to figure out what happened, why was she here, and she wouldn't reveal it. She wouldn't say, and but the craziest thing is her clothing wasn't around. It was nowhere around. I don't know if it was in the house. It definitely wasn't her house. So, everything started turning in my head. What happened? Whether she was abused or raped or assaulted, robbed, I just didn't know, and she wanted to reveal it. It took a very, very long time, actually, until this day. I still don't know what happened to her. But that image, um, I always said I would write for her, write about it, but she was on the ground, cold, stone wall of a basement, walkway, and just there. And me and my partner were just, man, what's going on here? And until weeks later, we actually really tried to talk to her, and she wouldn't reveal what happened, and that bothered me throughout my whole career. Because something was wrong. Because this woman was, she was always well dressed, always well kept, and throughout my life, when I seen her, church going person, but I don't know what happened that day. And so what I'm leading to is that situation was so clear to me that it could spark something for me to write about it. The only thing is, it's so incomplete. I wish I had the other part, the other story, and I don't. And one day I would like to write about it, but I definitely know that this will be a very long poem, and so. But yeah, New Bedford is. I still go downtown, and I still stargaze. Right, I still look at things. All my life I've been down there, doing things and walking around from a kid to an adult, for professional business, everything. But I'm still amazed with things that I look at in stargaze. Um, recently, a couple of years ago, I joined the New Bedford Historic Society, and that's just amazing. Um, it's an amazing board to be part of because we're looking for history, in the city, and trying to make sure that we get those stories out that are not being told. So, but
Yeah.
how do you feel about downtown?
Oh my goodness. It's as if I've lived 6 different lifetimes. Um, and they've all been different, you
Mm,
know. Um, I've seen this city go through so many different phases. It isn't funny, but there's still an underlying core. Uh, there is a heartbeat and a spirit to this city that is the same. and
Yes.
you wouldn't recognize it unless you were here a long time. You know,
Exactly.
my family's been in this city for, well, since what, the 1800s, you know,
Hmm.
Portuguese whalers, you know, and commercial fishermen. And I've always been in love with this town. I've always been in love with this city, especially downtown. You
Yes.
know, the historicity of it is always, I've always romanticized it. You know, when I was sober for years and years, I, I would often go down there and, you know, and just sit and meditate, watch people go
Mm.
by, people watch, and in my drunken years, when I would lose everything and become homeless, I always gravitated down there because I
Mm.
knew it. You know,
Yes.
I knew every alley, every nook and cranny,
Hmm.
every cheap dive, and there were plenty of dives back in the day.
Yes.
um, you know, and I'd like to think I know this city better than most
Yeah. Yeah.
because
It's
I've been face down in the dirt in this city, and you get a different perspective
yeah,
than just passing through. You know, and so many people these days are just passing through,
so true. Um,
which is which is fine, but
yeah. I try to tell people that there's so many stories here. Um, and just try to talk to someone local like you, like myself, and just learn something different that's outside, the Whaling Museum or outside, and those pieces are all, part of the huge history. But org- r- check out the organic stories, like yours, and your books, your story is clearly a documentary. It's clearly a movie. It's clearly something that we see every single day or week on TV. You could take your book and say, man, I think my book was better than that story that I seen on, you know, uh, what's it, lifestyle, I believe it is. Yeah, all those different stories, then YouTube is my friend. I listen to everything on YouTube. I truly, truly love it. I call it my professor,
there's a,
and
there's
I
a lot
learned
there.
some, yeah, yeah. So, all right. Let me see, what else I have here. What was the hardest truth you discovered while writing your books?
Um, I've always kind of been introspective, um, and would exercise insight into myself, you know, to see what I was doing wrong.
Mm,
You know, when blaming other people, places, and things wasn't cutting it anymore.
yeah,
I had to take a look inside of me and said, well, what's the problem with me? And when I started to follow my journey of recovery, I I learned how to do that effectively,
mm,
um,
nice.
because that's what they have in the recovery community is, cleaning house and learning about yourself and developing coping skills and mechanisms. And I can't say enough about the recovery community, whether that's 12-step programs, AA,
Yes,
NA. Um, I'm eternally grateful to those organizations because they bridge the gap between me and my soul. between me and my mind. I was able to regain my sanity. So I, every time that I fall on my face and get up and come crawling back into recovery, it gets worse and worse out there.
Mm-hmm.
But every time I come back into recovery, it keeps getting better and better, stronger and stronger. And I learn more each time. Unfortunately, I learned the hard way,
Yeah.
So, but yeah, and sometimes I can get too much, and that's why I like this creative process of writing, because I was gifted a laptop
Yep.
a couple of years ago, so I was able to start writing so that I could publish it.
Yeah.
I'm over there typing with my two fingers, like a caveman at top speed. And all of a sudden, I went into a trance where I didn't realize what I was writing. And all I could sense were all of my thoughts, which were going 100 miles an hour, looking back over my life, and da da da. And while that was happening, some deeper part of myself slipped out the back door.
Yep.
And started looking at the truth of everything. And I was able to see it clearly. So I express that in the book too, kind of in a creative way,
I like that. It's I like when it's full steam ahead when you're writing, and and I was that same type guy with my two fingers and tapping away and doing things from poetry, from writing different books, from even police work. That's how I started, with a typewriter with a ribbon, and it's all you heard, tap, 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 tap.
And yourself there.
Yeah, it's the craziest thing is that the between the ribbon and the correct the whiteout, the whiteout ribbon, those are the most essential things around. If you have to keep them, because three carbon, a carbon paper, two paper, three different sheets, and it's just crazy. But I'm glad I lived that life. I'm glad that I was able to be born when I was, and I still say, I love. I give a huge tribute to anyone in the '60s that was the reason why I grew up the way I did in the '60s and '70s. It was more like '70s and '80s, and I truly wouldn't trade it for anything in the world. I remember my mother telling me and my brothers, "Hey, you smell like outside." I was like, "What do you mean you smell like outside?" And it's so. Excuse me, I got a little cold. Trying to recover and get it better. In the next couple of days. All right.
I got a smoking stuff going too.
I have a question I ask all my guests, and who would you like to see on the Really Charlie podcast?
Who would I like to see on the Really Charlie? Whew. Well, that's a small list. I know a couple of poets, and I know I have had the pleasure of making the acquaintance of a rap artist.
Yep.
In the past couple of years, Mr. Hernandez Resto.
Yeah, he was on here. He was on the podcast.
I missed that one. I'll have to look in the YouTube catalog.
Great guest.
videos from his performance at the Z.
Mm-hmm.
He's a good cat.
Yeah, he's real creative. The craziest thing is he did something right that I wish I had thought of, because I thought it was just 5 stars out the. It was a hit out the park. He gets on Union Street, sits in a chair, and they take a picture of him. That was just so. I said, "Oh, that's amazing." I wish I did the same thing, man. But his creativity is amazing, and
Yeah, he's a sharp young man. Yeah, yeah. You know something I'm itching to do, and I just never get around to it. Is I would like to gather a lot of writing and poetry from homeless people
mm,
and compile it into a book and let the proceeds go to um, the right place, where it's going to
yeah,
benefit the homeless in this city. I'd like to see that come about.
I would like that.
Um,
If you need any help with that, just to be another two hands for you, please let me know. That's a great idea. And and it's definitely a documentary, right? Can you imagine that? Just
oh
going.
yeah,
It's
that would take off.
yeah. I think wishes, and every day, every week, I wish that I hit the lottery so I could help out with the homeless, and especially the church on County Street, just sitting there across from McDonald's. I'm like, and believe it, a lot of people don't realize that the history of that church, that the Black Panther Party used to have their breakfasts in there and feed all the kids in the neighborhood.
Yeah,
They would go in there uh, and but there's another history about County Street, is that they said that it was it had the most churches per capita on one
yep.
street.
It was
And when I
actually Guinness World Book of Records at one time.
yeah, and when I read that, I was like, I started thinking about it. So I went all the way from the south end and go as far north as I could, to the, and I started thinking about it, and I'm saying, yeah, people don't realize it. Like, they forget about the church at Linden and County, uh, and
Yeah,
they forget about the church on Merrimack and County, because they're just sitting there, right?
yeah.
And
There are several churches that are closed right now. Empty
yeah.
buildings just sitting there. Still owned by the diocese, I might add.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Interesting. They actually, one of my friends, they asked him to purchase it as is, and he checked it out, but he said, nah, I think I'm gonna pass on that. Probably too much work. And when a building is historic like that, the government's gonna kind of nitpick you and tell you can't do this, can't do that, um, which I could never understand. If someone owns it and you didn't take it over, why are you telling anybody what to do with their building?
Yeah. So
All right.
land.
Let's see. We got 2 more questions for you, and no, we pretty much talked about that one. All right, I'll ask you another hot question.
Oh,
You got 2 books, and you're going on a train ride from here to DC. Which book are you reading?
the longer one.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, it's I still want to take that trip, man. I still want to kind of go from Boston to DC on that fast train ride, and I like the train. I always wanted to kind of,
Yeah.
as a writer, I wanted to always, go cross country and just write from.
You just reminded me of the last band I was in. Uh, was in '93,
Mhm.
and we decided to move down to Western North Carolina and
Mm,
maybe try to get signed to a small indie label. And you know, when we were cutting through New York
mhm.
on the bus, I was on the bus. What a long! I'll never take a bus down there again. But we cut through Harlem,
Yep.
and my face was up against the bus window,
Yep.
and I just was like amazed at how beautiful it looked. It was
Yeah.
just this big, festive, multicultural. I mean, there were street musicians, and there were
Yeah.
uh, murals and paintings everywhere, and people going back and forth shopping and doing whatever. And it looked like a painting. It looked
Yeah.
like one of those old French impressionist paintings, and I was like, so I used that as a lyric in a song I wrote, and I had my friends in the band had no idea what I was talking about, but
Uh-huh.
it was that bus ride through Harlem.
It's I went to the Harlem Book Fair, and from New Bedford to Harlem, and went on a bus tour, and that's where we stopped. I was so amazed, just like you are, you was, and I was just looking at everything. Um, where I wasn't amazed with the books, and that's what I was supposed to be there for. I was more amazed with people watching
Mm, yeah,
and conversations. I sat on a bench one time and just listened to everybody around me, and it was just amazing. If I could have recorded that, it would have been, just
man,
yeah,
so vibrant and so alive. And then we go through the Bronx, and it looks like a nuclear holocaust.
so
But
true,
anyway,
so true. And, all right, all right, Walter. What I want to do is want you to close the podcast with anything you possibly want to talk about. We got about 10 minutes, and just you can even ask me questions. Whatever you want.
hey, I I think what's kind of amazing to me about this, um, and I'm not patting myself on the back or anything, but I am recognizing that I don't have any experience in writing.
Mm,
I've never even taken a course in high school or I've never been taught poetry or anything like that.
same
But
here.
I have always loved to read, and um, I fell in love with prose when I didn't even know what prose was.
Yeah,
I just know
yeah,
I loved reading it, and I loved how it was lyrical, and what the heck. A lot of amazing things have happened to me in these past um, 5 years. That the quality of life for me within these last 5 years has probably been just about the best since since I was a kid in the 60s and
Wow.
70s. You know,
Amen.
it's, it's been such a blessing to not have to go through that personal struggle, and it's just staying the course. Man, if anybody's ever in treatment for addiction, if anybody's trying to find themselves creatively, don't stop.
Yeah.
Stay with it. Stay with it till it's done.
So
And
true.
that's how I'm going to try to finish the rest of my life. Um, is to just stay with it and enjoy it and appreciate it and be grateful for it until it's
So,
done. Yeah.
so true. Yeah. And it's the same here. I just want to, every day I'm trying to do something, whether it's write another book, write a poem, write a song. Um, it's crazy. My phrase was thinking and writing. I would always put that on my Facebook post. And now it's going to thinking and songwriting. And I truly love it. I love doing it. And
Do you play an instrument?
no, I don't. And that's the problem. Uh, I have a guitar here, electric one. And my granddaughter wants it, so I'm going to give it to her. And uh, also, if I could sing like my dad, I'd probably that would be perfect, because I can write every single day, and but I don't have the voice for it, and it so what I did is I've been, because I had many songs, but I couldn't get local artists to sing them, play them. So I've been using the Suno app to play my music, and then produce it, and I put it down in the description what I want, country music, gospel, R&B, hip hop, whatever it is, pop. I put it in there, um, and how I want it to play. I'm a saxophone lover, uh, and the best thing about it is that I get to hear my lyrics in music, and it really, really, it's amazing. I thought I needed people to help me, but little did I know that that this little app has done so much amazing things for me. And someone is actually recording a couple of my songs, so I can't wait till it comes out so we can announce it. And but yeah, so I just wanted to say that.
That's awesome.
So we got a lot of things in common, and there's one thing that I would like us to do is build on our friendship here, and if you want to collaborate on anything, please let me know. And that idea about poetry from the homeless, that would be amazing. Um, that I hope you stick with that and make it go through from A to Z, and then stamp your name on it at the end.
Yeah, that'd be a project,
Yeah.
something. But
Yeah.
hey, you might have known my dad too.
Oh yeah.
He used to work for the city,
Mm.
on the back of the garbage trucks. Um, most people knew him in his later years. He was the guy that used to sit outside of the Dawson building with a Viking hat on, and he would wave.
Absolutely. I know who that is. Yeah.
That was my dad.
Oh my God. Talk about seeing someone every single day. Um,
God,
that yeah, he was definitely an icon. And it's too bad more people didn't take pictures of him, man, because that was just, you seen him, and I will never forget the first time I seen him, and I'm like, holy cow, man, that looks cool, and Then
Yeah,
see him.
he was a character. Yeah.
Yeah, he definitely had a crowd around him. That was the crazy thing, is that he was probably a topic of conversation, or led the topics of conversation amongst his friends, because they were always around him, you know.
Yeah, people loved him. Yeah. But
So,
anyway, hey, thanks for having me on,
all
Charlie.
right.
It's been a pleasure. And
Yeah, I truly
if anybody
appreciate.
wants to order the book, um, you can order from Amazon, Barnes and Noble, Kindle, ebook, or through the publisher, which is Outskirts Press.
Okay.
Either one of the two books, they're
All right.
visible, and they're both available at the library to take out and read anytime.
Okay.
The New Bedford Library.
No, I want my own. I want to fold it and bend it and crease it and put a couple of bookmarkers in there. I definitely want to do that. So, but I will advertise your book constantly on the podcast, on my social media, to get it out there, because we do have a bunch of readers associated with Really Charlie podcast. And I also want to say hello, Doreen. Thank you for supporting the Really Charlie podcast. You're always here. I appreciate you. Walter James Sylvia, you are a 5-star man. I truly, truly admire you from afar, and I'm glad that we are friends. And let's build on it. Let's do. Let's keep our creativity in the city going. And please come on here anytime, even if it's you. Even if it's you interviewing someone, you need a platform. Just call me, man, and I'll just sit in the
Thank
background and produce it, and you can interview whoever you want, and
Appreciate that,
gladly,
Charlie.
gladly do that, because I'm pretty sure there's things you would like to talk about, and you have an open invitation. So,
Well,
all
thank
right,
you very much. I appreciate that.
you're the
And
best,
you have
man.
a great day.
All right, I'm gonna close with our outro, and please, call me anytime. All right,
All right, brother.
yeah,
Have a good night. Peace.
good night. All right, everyone. That is Walter James Sylvia. This dude is amazing. Get his book. Um, get his book. Like you said, it's on Amazon. It's on Outskirts. 2 books. They're amazing. If you have to just check it out before you purchase it, go down to the main library, and it's Walter James Sylvia. Necessary Surrender, and his other book is Numino. Mina, rather. Sorry. Butchering that name all night, man. But thank you. And if you want to come on the Really Charlie podcast, send me an email, message. I truly appreciate it. We are on Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. Please like and subscribe to all the channels. We need it and appreciate it. All right, everyone. Take care and God bless.